ho, hello.
God.
Welcome to episode 47 of Cutscene Combos. We have got a Christmassy week, and as a result of that, there's lots to talk about, but no new content. So this could be an interesting one. First off, we're going to have the character profile on DC's interpretation of Santa. We're then going to have a little discussion about where from all of the nerdy IPs we would like to spend New Year's Eve the most. We've got some Disney Plus 2023 first looks to discuss, a new Sony project to discuss, a new Henry Cavill project to discuss, even more of this DC madness with new updates and more things to discuss. We're going to have a little chat about Avatar's initial response that we've seen via Twitter. We're going to talk a little bit more about Into the Spider-Verse and a very cool poster they've released. We've got some MCU tidbits, I guess is the best way to describe them, before we wrap it up with the superhero showdown, which is Hawkman versus Red Hood.
Mm-hmm.
But before all of that, Barry, how's your week been?
My week's been pretty good. Work's very much chilling out. Couple of big projects they're gonna more so kick off in the start of the new year, but it's Christmas. Everything's kind of just winding down, even on the
anything that's an
esports
urgent
side.
just gets pushed into the new year.
Yeah, basically, I've done anything urgent. There's one project that's I'll maybe still work on a little bit, but yeah, everything's kind of work-wise getting pushed to next year. Obviously, today as we're recording this, which is on the Wednesday for a change, Apex finally fucking announced their first LAN. I don't know why it's taken them so long.
So, is it actually all in London this year, or is that just like a mistype in the article?
No, that is going off what I've seen other people tweeting about. It very much seems like they're doing all of them in London, which wasn't what the rumor we'd heard originally. So I mean, it doesn't matter now, I can say this, but the original rumor was the second one was going to be in Tokyo.
Oh, that'd have been lit.
Yeah, that would have been. But I'm wondering if that was maybe just I don't know, one of them where who knows where that
it was
came from.
all going to be London, or is it all going to be Tokyo?
I don't know. Maybe Tokyo was just in the a place that got thrown out because it'd be a cool place to do it.
It would.
I wonder if it's taken a while to announce because they were still locking in. We're doing it in London for free. I mean, I'm all for it. It means more LAN opportunities for me this next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird one to see an esport do all of their LANs in one location.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll all be at the Copper Box or if they'll be at different locations, but it seems like London is the host here, which is cool. And the first one's that first week in February. So fingers crossed
cool.
I'm able to go. We're still working out all them details. But yeah, work-wise, pretty quiet. Had a fun weekend though. Went to Winter Wonderland.
Yeah, it looks like you had a great time.
Yeah, it was good fun. First time I've ever been, so
it's a really cool thing to experience. It's one of them things that I wish everyone at some point had the ability to go and do without worrying about how fucking expensive it is.
Mood. Train strikes, because that added a whole fucking extra level to it. But yeah, it was a fun experience. I would definitely do it again. I think it's definitely one of those things where a group of friends doing it makes it the best experience.
100%.
If it's just the Christmas market experience one, there's better places to go than that.
100%. That is like a full-on day out where you go, you have a look around, and you also then get battered with your mates and go on rides.
Yeah.
But you do have to be willing to spend £100 plus if you want to really, really experience it, which
you do.
Sucks.
But that was a good weekend. And it was a good a break from work and before Christmas and everything. Because family start arriving as of tomorrow. So
fun.
Yes. How's your week been?
Everything's on fire.
Oh dear.
Just work chaos. Because as you know, I work in a project oriented work style, I guess is the way you
Hmm.
describe it. And because of the nature of that, sometimes people don't fully understand everyone's um cog in the great machine.
Hmm.
So sometimes there are miscommunications that lead to other people being left with little to no time to do what they need to do.
Can relate to that.
So it's pretty busy. My last day before Christmas is tomorrow, so I've just got to power through for one last day and do the best I can, and then I'm off until the new year. But
Not your
yeah,
problem then.
it's been a very very hectic week. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's just if you ever have one of them weeks where like even though you know your job can't suck all your energy and you still need to do the things you enjoy, you do just then want to get into bed like 4 hours earlier than normal and sleep,
Hmm.
which is very uncommon for me. Like I operate easily off like 6 hours. Like as stupid as it sounds, I can operate off that. But these last couple of days, I've been like getting in, ready to go to bed at 5 o'clock when I get in. Just exhausting.
No, I know what
But
you
we power
mean.
through.
Yep. One more day and then you can drink your sorrows.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, but on that note, it's only 4 sleeps till
Mm,
Christmas.
it is.
So what better time to discuss DC Santa?
Yes. And it won't be
And I
either
have
of us two coming down the chimney.
to be honest, Harry.
Oh,
Had I written all 4 of these character profiles together,
yes.
I probably wouldn't have done this one so close to Christmas.
Ah,
um,
ah.
so Santa's first appearance was in Superman's Christmas Adventure #1 in 1940.
God.
Santa Claus is also known as, I'm gonna butcher this, Agos Nikolaos.
What an okay alternate
Yeah.
name. Interesting.
So his mythos is largely similar to what we have in the real world and what
Hmm.
was 1/3 of the Marvel mythos, which was the Bishop of Myria.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the original Santa in DC is Agos Nicholas, the Bishop of Myria. Um,
Right.
but once he died, the spirit of Santa Claus for all of the good that he had done was
Mm,
released and would move from person to person through the ages.
okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's how we still have Santa now, despite the original Santa being dead long ago.
Got you.
But we've had some interesting interactions in the DC universe.
Mm,
So our first one was with John Constantine, our
right.
wizardy witchy demon hunting friend.
Mm-hmm.
Who once had to locate the remains of the original Santa, because he needed the bones, which had a lot of magic in them, for an occult ritual.
Oh,
Um, so
very
after
Christmassy.
he found the remains, he ground them up into a powder to transport them and get them past security.
Ah.
He used what he needed for the ritual. Then he snorted the rest as if it were cocaine,
I was so close to making that as a joke and
and then claimed it was going to be a white Christmas.
ah. Ah.
Stay classy, John Constantine. Stay classy.
So I nearly made a joke about when you said go ground up into a pile. I was like, this is where someone mistakes it for something else. Uh,
Oh no, he
nice to
knew. He just did it
know.
anyway.
Oh yeah, I know. Nice to know that me and the DC writers are on the
Yeah,
same page.
right in there. Hey, Christmas bump, you know.
It's one way to look at it.
And then another Christmas, Santa had a dream. Not Santa. Superman had a dream of
Right.
being asked by Santa for help to
Okay.
save Christmas. And he even got to go to the North Pole and visit the workshop and meet the elves.
Right.
So after helping Santa with his issues, he then woke up on Christmas morning and he found a Kryptonian toy that only Santa could have known about.
Oh, that's cute.
So maybe it wasn't a dream. Ooh.
Ooh.
However, not everyone has nice stories of Santa Claus.
Here we go.
Lobo
Oh.
has claimed that the Easter Bunny hired him to kill Santa, as he was a vicious dictator who ruled over the elves on the North Pole with a iron fist, using controlled malnutrition to keep them small so they couldn't revolt, but strong so they could build toys for him.
I mean, it's not unbelievable.
It is a very Lobo interpretation
Yeah.
of Santa, I think.
I love
Basically, it looks like for whatever that story was, they took Santa and went, "How can we just twist this?"
that. Yes.
So everything feels very possible, but just in the way that no one wants it to be.
Yeah.
So we have some interesting interactions with Santa in the DC universe. Not all of them that festive, but for the most part, he's real. He's cutting about. Superman has met him. Martian Manhunter has met him. Lobo was apparently hired to kill him. John Constantine snorted a original Santa.
So, yeah, a bit more of a different take than.
It seems like over the years, occasionally a writer would want to do a story around Santa, and they just kind of told their own story without worrying too much about Santa's
and then the
timeline.
And the canon of it is just, well, different person possessed by his power.
Exactly.
I mean, it works. Gets around it.
It could be worse.
It could be worse.
And this moves us on to what I thought would be quite an interesting question. I know it's a little bit early. We've not even got through Christmas yet. Why are you talking about New Year's Eve?
Yeah,
but I thought we'd milked Christmas enough for the last 2 weeks. So I thought our talking point could move us ahead a week.
Yep.
I was thinking, out of all of the fictional cities and planets in the universes we cover, your Gotham, your Metropolises, your Coruscants, where would you most like to spend New Year's Eve? Because Gotham is an absolute no. You're either getting poisoned or stabbed.
Yeah, but so I obviously you pitched this topic to me when we were prepping, and I looked up different because I was trying to remember as many as I could. So I came up with a few and my ideas of what New Year's Eve would be like. So for Gotham, I was just like, very high chance something bad's gonna happen, but you're most likely going to go to like some sort of a New Year's Eve ball in Gotham, I feel.
Okay.
If I suppose it depends on your class, but I mean, I feel like a New Year's Eve ball in Gotham would be pretty good fun, but very high chance that Joker then crashes it and...
Yeah. So the really rich event could be fun, but there is going to be a criminal who wants to take advantage of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. So yeah, I do think Gotham is probably the most dangerous option.
I would say it's high risk, high reward.
Yeah. I'll take
whereas,
that.
Whereas Metropolis, I think, is the complete opposite. It's low risk, low reward.
Yeah, I feel like
it's going to be like New Year's Eve in like most big
New York
cities.
City. It's going to be like New York City New Year's Eve. Like lots of fireworks.
There'll be loads of great parties, but just as many awful ones.
Yeah. There'll be a big countdown. Yeah. I think Metropolis would be usual city. It's good.
I feel like there would probably be an event where Superman like does something to entertain people, and that could be cool to see.
Yeah.
Maybe he physically drops the ball.
Yeah, or he, I don't know, punches something up high in the air that makes a firework explode or something.
Yeah.
Lasers a firework in the sky and it blows up.
How would you feel about a New Year's Eve at Mordor, though, or in Mordor?
In Mordor?
Yeah.
I ain't fucking doing it in Mordor, mate.
I feel like orcs know how to party.
Nah. Do you know where if we're gonna do Lord of the Rings world, it's got to be Khazad-dûm, the Mines of like with the dwarves.
Yeah, no, they would have good. That would be a party.
Yeah, Because
no,
it'd be
that's
a fuck ton of drinking and everyone would start smashing rocks.
yeah,
And
no, you're
it
not
just
wrong.
turned into
You're
like
not wrong.
an absolute flex. Do you know what I
Yeah, no.
thought would also probably be quite a vibe? Wakanda.
Oh, I
'Cause
could see that. It'd
Because
be
you'd have
very
like
different.
you'd have like a carnival vibe to it.
Yeah, I do think it'd be very, very different, but it would be so much fun. I think the vibes would be immaculate.
Mm. Like if you think like what they did for the funeral in the recent film,
Yeah.
like that, like a whole city being like a full-on carnival, like that vibe would be immaculate.
Oh no, you're right. Actually, I hadn't even considered that. That's an absolute shout. Oh, I
Um,
wonder.
go on.
Forget its name.
Ooh,
Or the island the X-Men live on.
ooh, wait,
Um,
I can't remember either.
Krakoa.
Maybe you've got a better idea than
Mm,
me. He's
I
Googled
wanna.
it.
I thought it was Krakatoa, but the spelling doesn't look right. I'm just gonna go with Krakatoa because I think that's right. I'll get shouted out by someone in the comments. It's fine. Um, I I think again it would be similar to Metropolis in pretty mainstream city-esque,
Hmm.
but the addition of people having funky powers probably leads to like the
Some
celebrations being cooler than
shenanigans.
fireworks. Yeah.
Yeah, some absolute
I'm just not sure how I
shenanigans.
feel being the only person without powers though.
Yeah, be like turning up to a fancy dress party and not being in fancy dress, and you're like, ah,
Yeah. You just feel like you stick out.
yeah.
Um
As Asgard was another one I thought, because
oh,
the
they
music and the food and drinks would be,
big feast vibes.
yeah, big
Less
feast.
party, more feast, and everyone just discusses the year.
It gets
Yeah,
absolutely
no.
sloshed.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
I could back that.
tried thinking of some Star Wars ones, but it's like Star Wars is hard because Star Wars isn't
You
like
don't
the
get to
most
spend a lot
festive.
of time on any other planets.
Coruscant, obviously, I mean, there'll be a mix of like, obviously the upper class will be having their nice fancy parties, but then the down in the slums of it, like every bar's definitely going to be popping, and
I think as long as you don't go like proper slums, you could probably
that
have a
middle, that
great time.
yeah, that middle ground will be like going out to a club for New Year's Eve. It'll be that vibe where you're just in the middle of a club, everyone's pissed, and then it's like suddenly there's a big countdown and music.
Yeah.
The other Star Wars place I thought of was Cloud City, just because I thought
Ooh.
up that high, like you could do some cool like like that at
Yeah.
night with fireworks going off like around the city itself because
Yeah,
you're so
no,
high up.
100%. They've probably got an observation deck somewhere that gives you a nice 360 view up there
Yeah,
drinking champagne. Fireworks go off literally around you would
yeah,
be sick.
full 360 would be. But
Yeah,
like
no,
those drone videos where they're in the fireworks. Have you seen them?
yeah. Yeah. I think a Wakanda or a Cloud City does sound because I think they'd be different.
Yeah, I think for me, I think I would enjoy like an Asgard or Wakanda just purely for like the vibe of Wakanda would be so enjoyable.
100%.
But Asgard's definitely like that great vibe to do a New Year's
We'll
Eve
have
on.
to rotate through them. This year we'll do boring ones at home. Next year we'll go to Asgard.
Yeah, we'll just we're going to Asgard next year, and then it's Wakanda's turn the year after. Then we're going to Metropolis.
Yeah.
I'm busy the year we're doing Gotham, I'm afraid.
I mean, we could legit do Metropolis. Let's just go to New York.
Yeah, true. That is
Because
very
it will
true.
just be the exact fucking same.
That is very true. Oh, what about oh, I've forgotten the name of it. The where Wong and all them go. The sanctuary. Doctor Strange and the Wong are from
Oh,
the temple
yeah,
place. I can't think of his
yeah.
name
Yeah,
because
no, I
they've
know what
talked
you
about
mean.
they've had to wipe people's memories because of the parties they had. So
Hey, low key. I don't remember last New Year's Eve. Maybe we were there for that one.
Imagine. Do you
No,
know what
I'd be down
oh,
for that. If their parties are so outrageous that they're having to wipe the world's memory, I'm fucking down.
and
Let's
all
go.
you know is you went there, but you have no
Yeah.
memory of what happened.
Yeah, no, 100%
Oh,
down.
do you know what they should do for next year's? Like they did Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. They should do a Wong New Year's Eve party.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
And it's just like
That-
all the cameos they could have of people just
Yeah.
rocking up, and then
Just pure chaos.
and it never gets mentioned again in MCU because they all get their memory wiped.
Pure chaos. I'm down. Oh,
But yeah,
well, there we go then. Let us know down below where you would most like to spend a
New Year's Eve.
fictional New Year's Eve. Because there's probably some more good options that we haven't even considered out there.
Yeah, there probably is actually.
But it's time to move on to basically a motherload of Nerd News Network news stuff.
Yeah,
And it's new. It's new Nerd News Network news.
we were worried for content over Christmas, but really
Yeah.
news has just popped off this last month.
Yeah. Shout out James Gunn.
Yeah, James Gunn's putting in work.
But first and foremost, we got a kind of preview first look at Disney Plus in 2023.
Yeah, we did.
Which was just stills from a lot of the shows.
Stills
Loki,
and very quick clips.
Ahsoka
Secret
were two of
Invasion.
the most notable ones. Secret Invasion.
There was Mando for season 3. What else was there? Oh, I think there's a Bad Batch clip as well, and plus a bunch of their other Disney stuff.
Yeah. Of what I saw, I don't think anything was given away.
No.
Don't get me wrong, we might look back and go, "Oh my god, that still they showed us was actually from the most important scene." But I don't think from the stills you can tell if anything's going to be important.
No.
There was a new character in one of the Loki stills, wasn't there? Or was that just a slightly different looking Sylvia?
I think it was a Sylvia on a couch with like a Walkman or something. Yeah, no, I think that's just Sylvia. Probably the most interesting still for Loki was the one where they're in their like dinner suits, and there was 3 Lokis in total.
They're still playing around with the multiple Loki idea, or we're going to see Loki doing a bit of magic that makes it.
Oh yeah, possibly.
Could have some fun with it.
There was just a clip of Ahsoka taking her hood off, which wasn't anything.
Yeah. And it was just promo stuff. It was just look at all this stuff coming in the new year. I don't think realistically we can be surprised they didn't give anything away.
No, I think we might get the only one we haven't really had a trailer for out of everything that's shown was Ahsoka, I think.
We haven't had a Loki season 2 trailer.
Oh, true. Sorry, true. We've had Secret Invasion though.
We have had a Secret Invasion.
We've had Mando and we've had Bad Batch now. So maybe first quarter we might get a Loki trailer and an Ahsoka trailer.
Yeah, I assume it's. I mean, they showed it in the 2023 promo, so I assume it's due late summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, looking forward to the next year of Disney Plus.
Yeah, we also got.
I
just know I'm going to get angry.
I can already see on your face.
So Sony have announced another.
I'd
like to point out in my notes, I capitalized another.
He did.
Spider-Man villain spin-off for their Spider-Man universe that doesn't have a Spider-Man.
It's Morbin time too. No, I'm
joking. Because Morbius was so good.
Hit success.
And we know we've got El Muerto to come.
And don't forget Craven.
And Craven, yep, where we're going to have someone who loves animals be as a hunter, yep. We've got Donald Glover, which really hurts me because I love that man. But there is nothing Donald Glover has done that I haven't enjoyed. But he's just off to a bad start with me.
I was going to say, this is really going to test.
If he manages to make this
do you know
good,
what?
I'm baffled. They have to go all in on the comedy aspect.
When you sent me this, like the headline of this, the only bit of hope all my hope is resting on Donald Glover.
Yeah. So he is set to star and produce in a Hypno-Hustler film. Now, if you don't know that name, don't worry.
No one does.
I will do a proper character profile at some point, probably in the new year. But just a little tidbit for you. He has the ability to hypnotize via a specialized guitar. His boots grant him some abilities. He can use knockout grass, and he has retractable shoes. I'll be honest.
Nothing
Bearing in
crazy.
mind the character first appeared in 1978 and the design of the character, it feels like they're using a lot of not great stereotypes when the character was initially used.
Yeah, I mean, so I googled about the character a little bit because obviously I had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
It's very, very clear that it's like disco era.
Mm.
I read a thing that Donald Glover was kind of on board with using Hypno-Hustler partly because there is such little content about him. It gives him a lot more freedom to
Change him.
yeah,
And that seems to be where they're going.
which I'm interested to see whether they do it as like set in disco era or if they bring it more modern and it's like because it's Donald Glover they do hip hop.
I'm going to be honest. I'm really worried. I mean, we know Morbius stunk. We're going to get Craven the Hunter, who loves animals and doesn't hunt them. El Muerto, who I will remind you all has been in one comic book ever in 2006 or whatever it was. And Hypno-Hustler. They're going to do 2 more of these shitty films to create the worst Sinister Six to ever Sinister Six. And then they're going to steal Tom Holland's Spider-Man away from the MCU to do a Sinister Six film with like 4 of the characters being people that like never existed. I'm fucking sick of it, Sony. I'm sick of it.
Do you know what hurts more about this? Obviously, there was the period where everyone was like, oh, Donald Glover can be Miles Morales. Obviously, that passed. But we got the thing of him cameoing as his uncle.
Yeah.
Isn't this also technically set in the MCU?
Don't ask these questions. No one knows.
No, I'm asking. I'm putting these questions out there because
I do not believe so.
Oh wait,
I believe these are set in
Venom.
Tom Hardy's Venom's universe.
Yeah, which he traveled through.
Yes.
Yeah, multiverse. So okay, so they can get away with it. Because I was gonna say, if they turn him into someone else, I'm gonna be pissed that they ruin him ever being Miles Morales' uncle. Because I think that's a great role for him in the MCU to get to play that.
This man literally inspired the creation of Miles Morales as a character.
And now he's having to do Hypno-Hustler.
And now he's doing some shitty spin-off with Sony.
He obviously wants to do it.
Hypno-Hustler. I know, but it doesn't mean it's going to be good.
I just hope that maybe he has some fun idea with it because it's musical.
I'm all in for them to go super cheesy and corny with it.
Honestly,
but they have to be like really self-aware.
I'm so in if they make it like disco era and it's Donald Glover and it's super cheesy and he's like
let comedy, Donald Glover write, direct and produce it. Yeah, he might make it work.
Exactly.
Turn it into an extended Donald Glover special with a big film budget.
Or it's like hip hop, I guess. I don't know. It's the one we have the most hope for, however little that hope is.
I just don't trust Sony to do anything. Stick to making cameras, lads.
And PlayStations. Yeah, stick to the tech. It really just screams like that pulling names out.
The rights to the good Spider-Man villains. Why do they keep doing shit unknown ones?
It just feels like they're pulling names out of a fucking hat. Like they've just got a bucket and they're like, right, what film next? Hypno-Hustler. Craven. Oh, we can't do Craven nowadays. People will get upset that he's killing animals. Okay, we'll make him like animals rather than just not doing him.
Yeah, they either do characters that no one knows or they grab characters that are beloved and they fuck with them. Whatever happened to going, oh, there is 40 years of source material here. of a character that a lot of people like. We'll make a film about that character. We'll
Yep.
use the source material to either retell a story that everyone loved, like Craven's Last Hunt, or put together a new story, like what the MCU's done for their characters. They were inspired by certain stories, but for the most part have told a new story.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Marvel and the MCU have not been perfect, but at least like they're not doing Hypno-Hustler or Craven, but he likes cats.
Or like when they do pull someone out that's like very unknown, they at least they implement it properly.
I remember Twitter reacting to the Guardians of the Galaxy film, and the response was, "Here we go. This is going to be the MCU's first big flop. No one gives a fuck about these bozos." I remember that
Now
tweet,
everyone
or
loves
words to that effect. Now the Guardians of the Galaxy would be considered mainstream.
Yeah. It's like
that's how you do an off-the-wall character properly.
do you know what's happening? Someone in Sony is using that as an example.
Just
and
get shite
like,
greenlit.
Yeah, they're just like, Guardians of the Galaxy was no one before MCU. We don't need them to be a well-known character. But they're just pulling absolute shit out the bag.
Yeah, at least Guardians of the Galaxy did have a lot of comics for James Gunn to work with. Whereas Hypno-Hustler and El Muerto have none.
Do you know what's wild? There was a period, like, after Venom 2, that was we'd had Venom and Venom 2. Sony had allowed Tom Holland Spider-Man to be in the MCU. Like, people were like, Sony's a bit shitty, but they've let us have some good Spider-Man shit. And they were in good standing, and DC was the shithole. Now, Sony somehow they were in a good spot, and they've somehow
they've really
burnt it
out. Fuck it, yeah.
They've really just like, we're doing okay. Nah, it's fine. I'm gonna dig myself a grave.
Do you reckon that was the big brain play by Kevin? He sent James Gunn to go be in charge of DC to fix DC up, so Sony looked even shitter. So Sony give up their rights, revert back to Marvel, so Marvel owns Spider-Man again.
I'm playing the long
brain
game.
Play. If anyone was going to do it, I back Kevin. Although I don't think Sony would give up the rights to Spider-Man for anything. They'd rather put out a shit Spider-Man film every 3 years.
Yeah, they'll burn money if they have to. It's just wild.
The success of the Spider-Man games, which they can keep reeling off, genuinely probably makes it worth it to make a shit film every 3 years to protect the rights.
It's wild that Sony was in such a good position, then it crashed harder than crypto.
Yeah.
They just like fell off a cliff. All this potential, and then they just dropped it. With one film called Morbius.
Imagine what a legitimate
partnership with Disney would have looked like.
Yeah, just like the IPs they own, forgetting just all the Spider-Man IPs, God of War, Uncharted, all of these IPs that are so beloved, they literally have a license to print money, and they're going up to it and going, "I'll have a $5."
It makes no sense.
And I'm not suggesting companies should be greedy, but you don't need to be greedy. Put out a good product and you will, like, fists full of money.
Mm-hmm. It just baffles me to this day that, like, they're so salty that they couldn't just work with Disney.
I would love a true expose documentary behind Sony's filmmaking practices, because their animated films are always good because the executives don't seem to give a fuck about the animation, so they stay out of the way.
Do you
know
that
doesn't seem to be the case with the live action films.
You know the I can't think of what the film was. The film where it was Ferrari versus Ford.
Yeah.
And there was all that, like, we need like a dramatized film of like the back, like there's all the shady deals that probably have gone down over the years.
Social Network, but about Sony.
Yeah, but with Sony versus Disney versus Warner, but like all the fucking mess that's gone on there. There's probably been like so much of just trying to outdo each other and pure saltiness and backstabbing that's probably gone on. Like, I bet there's a great film to be made though. But
On to better content news.
yeah, onto the up and up.
Yeah. So Henry Cavill gave up his role on The Witcher.
Yeah, he's had
to be
a
Superman.
bit of a rough month.
He did his cameo as Superman. Got told to announce he was back as Superman. They hired James Gunn. James Gunn went, we don't want you, sorry. So he then lost his job as Superman again. It sucks for him. Don't shout at James Gunn about it. Stop being assholes.
Yeah, and also it's like, I don't think it's really anyone's fault necessarily. It's just business
foresight.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a joke I saw on Twitter from I think it was a comedian, that now that Henry was free, being such a big Warhammer 40k fan, he should start their live action universe in his now open schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of seems like that got a bit of support via Henry's fans and Warhammer fans. Yeah, let's do it. They know he's a huge fan of the stuff, so they trust him to put the right creative direction forward.
Yeah.
Then very quickly, bearing in mind that it was like 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how he's no longer going to be Superman. He's met with Amazon and they've greenlit a Warhammer 40k series. Not only have they greenlit it, they've greenlit it with no script, no writer, no creative director or anything in place. Henry Cavill has gone to them, I'd like to do a Warhammer 40k series.
It's in partnership with someone.
How big a check?
So I think Henry Cavill's gotten with someone else. Like he's partnered with someone to go to Amazon and make that happen. But yeah, I think whether Superman had happened or hadn't happened, this was still happening. I think this has been something in the works and is one of the reasons why he left Witcher 3 or Witcher.
I can only do 2 and Witcher's first to go.
That, or it's like he knew this was potentially going to happen. He was sick of Witcher and Netflix in the sense of like they weren't doing the franchise justice by his eyes and by the true fans sort of thing. So he was like, you know what? Fuck Witcher. I'm about to probably have to do this Warhammer thing anyway. And potentially /I'm coming back as Superman, because that's what he thought, unknowing like what that was going to contain, how many films or whatever. And he probably thought, you know what? Fuck Witcher. I'm going to do Warhammer and I'm going to show Netflix how the fuck it's done to do a proper franchise. And then obviously all the shit happened with Superman, and he's just like, well, it's fine. I've still got this huge fucking project I'm about to start. By the way, Amazon signed off on it. I'm super excited.
This is what I said to you before we started. And I know nothing about Warhammer 40k. What I do know is it's an expensive hobby because of the nature of like buying the miniatures and painting the miniatures and the amount of it you need. With a very loyal fan base and a deep, extensive lore.
Yeah. And
that is
brutal as fuck.
Yeah. That's what you want, isn't it? Oh, you've got fans who are already spending fuck tons of money on this thing they enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Fans who are loyal as fuck and just want to enjoy their hobby. And there's like so much there that we just need a decent writer to turn it into a script.
Well, yeah, here's the thing as well. Like, 40k has very deep lore, and yes, there's very like set kind of historical story moments and all this, but it's essentially a fucking war that's been going on for so long that like you can just create a character, you can create like anything, like it doesn't, as long as Henry Cavill will be able to create a fresh story from scratch, slap bang in the Warhammer 40k world. He'll keep it true to the lore, true to like how the world works and the rules of Warhammer, like through characters and why they're doing things, and he can make an incredible story. Warhammer 40k world is brutal. it's just like it's an action film that's just going to be absolutely incredible. And if I genuinely think as long as all he has to do is stick to the law and stick to the world and stay true to the world, and he'll make a great film
It's a
or
huge
series.
universe, and there's broad law rules like affiliations and stuff like that. As long as you stick to them in this big arse universe, anything can conceivably still be happening.
Yeah, literally. There's a lot he can do with it. Like I talked before we started the recording, I was telling you about the fan film Astartes. That's a completely like original little story. There's like no dialogue really. I don't there might be like a few lines, but there's like almost no dialogue. It's all just like it instantly pulls you in and you're locked into this world and everything feels so real. And it's like if he can do something which is like that, which was all 3D CGI, like take that mixed with live action, man, I'll happily watch Henry Cavill in a full fucking power armor suit of the Warhammer series and like him just smashing fucking creatures up or orcs or whatever. Like,
and if we know anything about the way Amazon runs Amazon TV, they're happy to spend money on stuff.
oh yeah, they'll drop a bag, and they know that Warhammer fans will come out in troops.
So I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for a passion project. Hopefully, it'll be entertaining. Maybe it will get me into the 40K lore and series. Maybe I'll just watch it by itself and go, yeah, that was. I'm sure I'll miss bits when I'm watching it from not knowing all of the lore, but it's always fun when a new, or not a new IP, but an well-loved IP gets a new lease of life
In a new
via
medium.
another medium.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm sure, or at least I hope, that them really diehard Warhammer fans are excited for what might be to come for them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's gonna be a while, but
Rome wasn't built in a day.
no, but I'm looking forward to hearing more as this comes out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I've just realised.
Oh. You've realised.
Oh wait, no. I've got myself confused. So moving on to not James Cameron.
not.
That's in a little while. James Gunn. Talking
James.
about the news that came out in the past week and just discussing it, which is nice that the head of the studio is clearly not been told, okay, you have to stop tweeting so much. I think that's gonna ease a lot of fan concerns as his slate of films get made.
Yeah, it's actually for once Warner Brothers is kind of doing some good PR.
Yeah, 100%.
They're letting James Gunn speak on it. I mean, he's the one at the top now, so like for him to be the one speaking on it, it clears a lot of things up, and he has the final say on shit. So it's like essentially what he says is gonna go.
Exactly.
So you know it's not messed up or misspoken on.
Yeah. So he did a bit of a Twitter thread. Basically, he said that him and Peter, who co-took over, they knew that the job wasn't easy. And he was very clear. A certain minority of people online were going to be loud, obnoxious, and mean no matter what.
Yep.
So they were prepared for that.
Yeah, he knows the internet. He knows Twitter.
Yeah. He said that their choices for the DCU, so it looks like his universe will no longer be going by the DCEU moniker, but the DCU to
so much easier to say.
Separate. Are based upon what they believe is best for the story and for the characters who've been around for, in some cases, 85 years. Perhaps these choices are great, perhaps not, but they are made with sincere hearts and integrity focused on the story.
Yeah.
So basically, he's gone. We're trying to do our best by the characters. You've got to give us a chance.
Yeah, he's
He said,
basically saying, we've entered a dumpster fire. We're trying to rebuild the DCU from the ground up. That's going to be changes you might not initially like, but you got to trust us that we are doing it right by DC.
exactly. He said no one likes being harassed or called names, but what they've experienced this past week or so has been even worse than that. I dread to think what their mentions and stuff will have looked like when Henry Cavill was announced to no longer be Superman. But he was also very clear: disrespectful outcry is never ever going to change their mind or affect their actions.
No.
So shouting abuse at them and being rude isn't going to get them to yield before the fans. The fans need to voice their concerns in a respectful and polite way, which is, I think, a more than fair request.
Oh, yeah. And really, all he has to do is listen to our podcast and he'll get that kind feedback on the DC.
He said they were aware it was going to be difficult after coming into, essentially, he didn't say these words, the shit show that was the DC before they arrived. The DC. The DCEU before they arrived. But their focus is to be the best artists and custodians of the DC characters they can be. One interesting bit after this thread, because he did respond to some people who responded to him.
Yes, he did.
One of the responses was, who knows if it's true, but recasting all the main DCU characters but keeping some will be interesting how Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad characters/actors live on but the others don't, particularly when they have already interacted together. To which he responded, I keep seeing posts with this untrue theory. We're not recasting everyone except the Suicide Squad. Which means, while some characters are getting gulagged, it seems to be what me and you discussed a while back, which would be he's going to pick and choose.
Yeah. People have seemed to got this idea that because he worked on Suicide Squad, that's the only thing he cares about keeping. Which is quite clearly not the case. I mean, it's not hard to know which ones he is going to get rid of, because it's the ones that everyone's been like, this has been a shit show of a film. Exactly. Yeah, the fact that he's addressing these things, though, like, instantly just shuts it down. It's just like, well, that's not true. So it stops people coming up with these dumb ideas.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Then what else did we have?
I think we had a couple of quiet days, and then
so we woke up today or late last night, I don't know what it was, to The Rock confirming there was not going to be a Black Adam sequel at this time.
Yeah, it's not going to be in chapter 1.
Yeah. So basically he's gone, Black Adam has no place in the current planned story for the DCU. So it doesn't look like if they do want to use Black Adam that it won't be The Rock. No, it just looks like they have no plans for the character at the moment.
My take from The Rock's post was he's obviously, just like Henry has, been in discussions with James while they were figuring out what seems to be, as The Rock called it, chapter 1. So my thought is how the MCU has its phases. DCU's going to do chapter 1, chapter 2, maybe that's how they're going to do it. This slate that James Gunn keeps mentioning is obviously what they've come up with for chapter 1, and they've decided Black Adam's not in that. And they've obviously told The Rock that because he obviously was probably wanting to know.
Well, I mean, he was an executive producer on Black Adam, so he probably kind of needs to know if they want a second one.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to figure out, are we starting the process on a second one? He's got to talk to James Gunn because he's the one in charge now. Okay, it's not in chapter 1. And I would imagine James Gunn's got a loose idea of the future, like after this first set of films, but he is probably very much focused on, we need to focus on chapter 1 and make sure like let's get the ball rolling before we start getting ahead of ourselves and planning chapter 2.
Yeah.
So The Rock might return as Black Adam. And I think it sounds like they have a good relationship, and he hopes to work with The Rock and his production company in the future. So it wouldn't surprise me if they bring Black Adam back at some point, and it still be The Rock if they
I have
do.
to be honest, I think a big point of contention is, as I was concerned it would be, The Rock's ego. He turned down a request for a cameo in the second Shazam.
Right.
That is dense as fuck, bearing in mind that Black Adam and Shazam are... Yeah. The Rock seems obsessed with fighting Superman because he wants to be on the main stage and he doesn't feel Shazam.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, you're probably right. Had he done that cameo with Shazam and already tied them together, he probably would have put himself in a better position of that being included in maybe chapter 1, or have a better idea of where it fits into the picture. But
I've got to be honest, while I don't think Black Adam's done, because he's definitely the kind of character that I see James Gunn wanting to use, I've got a feeling that The Rock's been put on hold so that James Gunn can get himself going, and then when he has a bit more...
Well, it's once the DCU's going, it's his ship. He's the captain.
Yeah. But also, if he starts off quite successfully, the fans, like we do with Kevin, are going to back him. So then if he wants to come out and go, yeah, we're going to re Adam, you're not going to get as many people going, what the fuck? Because they're going to be like, we trust you, Big J.
I agree.
And maybe that's me being a bit pessimistic, but it wouldn't completely shock me if that ends up being...
No, I think it is just very much a case of he respects The Rock, but it's like The Rock is probably very... pushy is not the right word, but he's probably has been very like wanting to know, am I getting to can I make a second film? I want to make a second film, like trying to push a second film onto it. And James Gunn's obviously got a very clear, like, we have our chapter 1, this is what we're doing. I'm not thinking about past this till this is going, because DCU's a fucking mess and we need to get this fresh slate kind of going before we can even figure out what's next.
Let's also remember, while Black Adam wasn't poorly received overall, I think it was very averagely received because it was a very average film. It wasn't profitable. And I mean, if it was like barely profitable.
I think it's also like it seemingly stood out as a good film because it was against a shit backdrop. Like if you look at the other DC films that have come out around it, and with what we're dealing with DC, Black Adam was like, oh, this is a nice change. This was actually a decent film, and like made it feel better than it was.
I do agree. If it had been a Marvel film of a similar quality, it would get absolutely destroyed on Twitter.
Yeah, they've been like, oh, yeah, it's one of the ones that's just meh. No one really cares.
The expected standards is very different.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I do think is fair, but I mean, we went to see it. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed it. There was parts I liked. There was parts I didn't like. I would go and watch another one, but I kind of want to see Black Adam fight Shazam. Definitely before he fights Superman.
Well, that's also another thing. That post-credit scene now is
worthless.
Because like even if they recast Superman, it's like it's not going to be a Superman in the same place, so it's just not going to make any sense. Like that's another issue. Is like I get it. The Rock was trying to set with what they knew at the time. It was a very good way to kind of like thread it into the world that they had going and potentially set it up for a good second film. But unfortunately, James Gunn's come along and he's got his own plan and it doesn't fit in anymore. So,
so this was quite an interesting one that I happened upon. So this is 2 levels of quite. So someone tweeted, "I'm so angry that Zachary Levi, who plays Shazam, isn't going to be Shazam anymore. He was the perfect casting choice. salt to the wound, he is close friends with James Gunn.
Yes.
I agree that Zachary Levi was phenomenal in that film, and I fucking loved that film. And I'm very excited for the second one. Someone then quote retweeted that and went, "I want this to not be true because his Shazam is the one thing in DCEU I would absolutely throw hands for to protect." She added him and said he's perfection. He then quote retweeted it, and he said, and I quote, "Oh, I really wouldn't go believing everything you see on the internet. I'm Gucci Ash. We all Gucci."
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Which
what I didn't realize until I read into it some more is, as a ratio, Shazam was actually one of the most profitable DCEU films.
Oh.
So raw money, it wasn't the most profitable, but as a ratio compared to the budget, it
Yeah,
was
the
one of
cost
the
and
most. Which I mean is always going to help with keeping it greenlit.
yeah.
It was well received by fans. There's a second one coming out soon that people are excited for.
Yeah.
I see no reason why James Gunn would want to keep Shazam, as long as he's happy with the character being used.
Yeah, and I also feel like I would like to think that after what happened with Henry Cavill tweeting he was back as Superman and having to tweet that he's no longer Superman, Zachary Levi wouldn't tweet this if he wasn't hadn't already talked to James Gunn. I would like to think he's seen what happened there and was like, I should make sure before I say anything because I don't want to put myself in the same position.
Put it this way, if I was a DCU actor and I saw Henry announce you 3 months later, he was, "Yeah, I'm on again," the first thing I'm doing is getting on the phone to my agent and go, "You better find out right the fuck now if I still have a job."
Yeah, I'd be like, I want confirmation from James himself that I'm playing said role before I even. So yeah, I like to think that that's pretty solid proof that he will still be Shazam, and Shazam's probably going to still get used, which would make sense if the second film's coming out. That's obviously one that maybe it is a bit more separate from the other DC EU films. Like it's managed to kind of keep itself separate a bit.
Yeah, I mean, even that one Superman cameo didn't have Henry Cavill in it.
Yeah, so I think that benefited it as well because there's not all that messiness of like, we don't want these DCU films. Oh shit, that one's tied to it. It kind of
You can have a relatively clean cut and keep that one.
Yeah.
Any references to other characters is just references. And a reference can go back to James Gunn's version of the character.
Yeah.
It's not a huge issue. But there's going to be a lot of news coming out of DC, and you guys are probably sick of hearing us talk about it. But there's going to keep on being more and more news come out as we find out who's staying, who's going.
This has been the most interesting and clear news we've had from DC in a long time.
Yeah, I would rather have over communication from DC, especially during like this changeover period, instead of radio silence and just the
Fans
tweets from the actors go. Yeah, could you imagine if we got nothing from James Gunn, just Henry Cavill went, "I'm no longer working with DC Superman"?
Oh, people would be up in arms going, "This is going to be a fucking mess." Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
it get worse and worse and worse.
Exactly. Whereas James Gunn coming out and talking to fans, hopefully, will teach fans to be a bit more respectful. Although I'm not holding my breath on that one.
I mean, some of them maybe.
But secondly, it means the fans who are respectful and genuinely do care and would like to know what's going on have a better insight. Do I expect it to always be this way where every time something happens, James Gunn gives us a nice Twitter thread to read and understand everything? No. But I do believe anytime a controversial major decision, he will give us a bit more insight into why that decision was made, which is only a good thing.
We're going to have is, and I mean, I'm all for him tweeting as much as he wants because it's more for us to talk about. But I think this, like we said, this period of like the changeover, he is going to be very over communicated, like a lot of communication.
He's always got to ease concerns, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And no board of directors is going to want to hear that Twitter's losing their shit over a decision your new CEO just made.
Exactly. Um, but I think as we get into this new year and kind of we start to get the details on like this is the end of that film, this is going, like, and we get to know what's going, he'll then go more quiet on what is coming because obviously he'll want to build that hype like you've got to do the marketing properly. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to when he finally does reveal Chapter 1, as it seems to be known. Chapter 1 of the DCU. So the new titling for everything. I'm so glad he's calling it DCU though.
And do you know what else I think that rebrand helps with? Clarification.
Yeah, also helps separate himself from what's been and what's now the new stuff. 100%.
Exactly. What's next? What have we got next? Avatar had its opening weekend. Yes, James Cameron. Avatar had its opening weekend. It made a fuck ton of money in its opening weekend.
Not enough though.
Not a fucking enough.
Didn't it make like
nearly 500 million?
Yeah, I was gonna say it made like half a billion, and it needed to make what, 2?
Yeah. The projection is this weekend. Its second weekend. It's only gonna make 80 million.
It's Christmas.
Yeah.
No one's going to the cinema on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
I would love to know how they expect it to make 80 million the weekend of Christmas. I can only assume that's mainly
Friday,
where Christmas isn't really celebrated.
Yeah, or I don't.
But the main interesting thing to me is, I haven't seen it. Based on the reviews I'm seeing, it looks like I was spot fucking on. The film looks brilliant. However, the story is a bit lackluster.
Yeah, see what? So I've seen it from two groups. The creative side of my Twitter and everything, fucking blown away, love it, think it's amazing, which is what I fully expected, which has me excited to watch it in that case. Then there's the people that have gone to see it because it's Avatar and they remember watching the first one and it's like, oh, it's been so long. And they're like, the sense I get is it has a better story than the first one. But it's...
You mean it has a better story than Space Pocahontas?
Yeah. Has a better story than the first one that somewhat hooks you a bit more to want to go see the third, but it's not anything 2 billion. It's not going to rake in 2 billion.
So should we discuss the bit that if we turn it into a short is going to get us having comments telling us we're woke again, that we're woke and we're going to go broke and shit like that?
Oh god, what's
there are minority people of color who, and we've got to remember when the first Avatar came out, this entire social awareness, especially via the internet, wasn't as prevalent. So you do have to look back on things. Let's remember, Pocahontas is set during the, I mean, if we're being honest, invasion of America and stealing it from Native Americans.
Yes.
And as I call Avatar Space Pocahontas, that's exactly what it is.
Oh yeah.
It is humans turning up to an alien planet and taking it from them
for the resources.
But what protects the aliens? Oh, it's a good human who just pretends to be one of them. So a lot of minority people are like, this is James Cameron having like a savior complex, when actually no one was asking to be saved. They were asking to be left the fuck alone. And don't get me wrong, I do get the argument it's just a film and you can enjoy the films, but at the same time, it is a valid point. Some stories are worth telling. Is a story where the brave hero white man who's by himself fights the few bad apples to save the native people who would have been fine if you just left them alone.
Yeah. It's,
and
I think
it's something to consider, and I think it's also going to hurt Avatar's numbers.
Yeah, I don't think it ever was going to have. A little part of me hoped maybe it has some great story this second time. Like they managed to turn around and come up with something great. But it seems like they've kind of just. I haven't seen it, but my worry is it's a better story, but it sort of runs repeat a little bit. It's going to visually look amazing, and I can't wait to watch it for that sake. I've seen some funny things though, because obviously people have been doing press runs, and other actors and actresses have been doing press runs for other things, and obviously now that Avatar 2 is finally coming out, it's like, oh, and I can't remember who it is. I think it's the actress that plays the main antagonist woman, or one of the main antagonist women.
Okay.
She was like, she got asked about it, and she was like, some reporter asked her about Avatar 2, and she was like, oh yeah, I never saw it. I presume that it, like, when it came out, it just flopped because I never heard about it. And they were like, it's not out yet. It's coming out soon. She's like, oh, I just presumed it was already out. Oh no, that was it. So she said something like, oh, I never got to see it. And they're like, oh, it's not come out yet. It's coming out in a couple of months. And she's like, oh, I presumed it came out and flopped because I never heard about it. And I filmed that like 12 years ago or whatever, however long ago it was. To which she then put, that's probably means I'm not going to be in the next one now because I've said that. Because she basically just slated it. And that is kind of the thing of like, there was a TikTok I saw and someone was like, there is like a generation of kids that have no clue what Avatar, like,
there are 13-year-olds cutting about
like, there's
that
just
have never seen Avatar.
The unfortunate thing is, it's taken too long.
Yeah. And this is the thing. If they just marketed it as a tech demo, gave up on any hindrance of a story to save some money there, made it shorter, and just gave us the action sequences that will look the best, you know what? I'd probably go see it. Because if you're going to market it honestly to me, I'll give it a go. But this idea that it's a masterpiece can fuck right off. Nothing can be a masterpiece unless it does everything a film needs to do. And a below average story stops it being a masterpiece.
I'm saying it now. It ends on 3. I think the response of this one,
there is no way they make enough money from this one to make them like go. Like, I dread to think how much money they've spent on Avatar's inability to get the fuck out of my face when no one I know is talking.
Oh, it's everywhere. But the way that he said like they can wrap up the story in 3, I think it gets wrapped up in 3. And don't get me wrong, number 3, he's already said is going to be way cheaper to make because obviously they've filmed a lot of it already, and a lot of the cost has gone into like the tech that they've had to build for filming this. It's like, sure, that like the next one's going to be cheaper, but I think it is going to get wrapped up in 3. I don't think we're getting 5 or more. Like,
and we don't need them. We just don't.
No, we don't.
When these stories are so one-dimensional and kind of rip-offish as stories that were told ages ago, do we need a franchise that's 5 or 6?
Yeah, no. Honestly, if he wants to do anything with the franchise and the IP, it would make an incredible game. I know they made a game after the first one, but like that
it was world, terrible, wasn't it?
Well, it was like film turned into a game.
Yeah, I really miss mid-2000s shitty games
made
based
from
films.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings games were a bit.
Yeah, that is a fad that I miss wholeheartly.
But here's the thing, like that
I'd be down for that to come back. I'd be down for that fad to come back
from the Avatar film. Like they could make a real that's a really good world to put basic game in.
Give you like an Ark Survival Evolved type game. Put it on Pandora. Fuck yeah.
So maybe they try and save the IP that way and make use of it that way, or unlikely.
Or maybe they just let it die.
No, do you know what will happen? They'll try and make a James Cameron's Avatar 2 game, and it'll be atrocious again.
Just last little desperate money grab.
Yeah, but
we got a Spider-Verse poster.
Yes, we did.
Which is fucking gorgeous, by the way. Maybe one or the other. At
some point.
Who knows?
Yeah, looks incredible. Gave us
stunning.
So many more.
Yeah. So there's actually been another poster released since I wrote this and added it.
In another country or something?
There's now an extra wide one.
Oh, there's a extra wide one. Okay.
Yeah, that has even more faces. So the ones that I've got on here doesn't include the extra wide, so no one shouted.
Okay.
So in the original one, you can see Spider-Man 99, who is Spider-Man India, We got our first look at Punk Spider-Man. Spectacular Spider-Man was thought to be on the poster on the very little edge.
Mm.
Then it got confirmed by the creator that Spectacular Spider-Man would be in it, and then in the ultra wide you get a proper shot of his face. Now, I don't expect you to know this, alright? But it is on Disney Plus. There is an old animated show from, I say old, like, might have been 2010s, low-key. Really not that old at all.
No.
That was called the Spectacular Spider-Man animated show. One of comic book Twitter's favorite adaptations of Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
And it was cancelled very abruptly after one season, and no one's gotten over it. So him being confirmed to have a cameo in Into the Spider-Verse has got Twitter very excited. I don't think they've realised yet it's going to be a cameo in the show.
Yeah, he's just going to be in the background.
Yes. I think in the ultra wide one I also saw the Insomniac Spider-Man.
Yes, there's also the PlayStation 1.
Yeah. Well, we saw them in like the trailer.
But there's just more.
The Insomniac Spider-Man is in the extra wide poster as well. There's also Spider-Man from another country. I think Italian Spider-Man, maybe.
Interesting.
There's just lots of different ones.
There's
some ones that
out.
there's been a load that people have looked at them and gone, I don't think I've ever seen this Spider-Man. This is a brand new one they've come up with, which could also be fun.
There's definitely going to be a few of those.
Yeah. There was also a very niche one, which was Spider-Man with a cowboy hat. And the comic that's from, he also had Spider-Horse, which was a horse with a Spider-Man mask on.
Oh, wow,
so everyone is desperately hoping that we get Spider-Horse as well.
That would be great.
I've got to be honest. I kind of want the pig from the Simpsons movie to make a cameo.
Just the pig. It's not
Spider-Pig. Spider-Pig.
Not actual Spider-Pig.
No.
There should be a line of like, Spider-Pig's here, and then it's like it cuts to the Simpsons one, not the actual one we know.
Don't get me wrong. There is always a danger, especially with a multiverse film, to go too cameo heavy. So they probably won't do it. It would be worth it, just purely for the people that get it.
Well, the thing is, like, there's gonna be a scene when he like arrives at that place where, as it pans out, people are gonna analyze that, and there's definitely the artists who are gonna have like hidden like Spider-Pig somewhere. It's just gonna be like, why the fuck not? There's gonna be a lot.
Great.
Did you see there was a couple of like confirmations about things? Because we were talking about
how racist Spider-Man looked.
Well, yeah, but is it Spider-Man 99 is the big one?
Yeah.
Apparently, yes.
He's an antagonist, but not a villain.
Essentially, yeah. It's like basically they both think they're doing the right thing on something, which is why they are against each other.
Typical clash of two heroes.
Yeah. So it's obviously
we're both trying to do the right thing. We're going about it different ways.
Yeah. So I think that what our prediction of like that'll be what happens, and then maybe part 2 is where they realize, oh shit, no, this is the big bad.
To be fair, as we were discussing that, I did forget that we know for a fact the Spot is in it.
The Spot.
The guy in the all white suit with black dots.
Oh.
So I'm pretty sure he's the main bad guy. Okay, now I'm asking you to go into the depths of your memory here.
Dangerous.
Okay. Did you watch the 1990 Spider-Man cartoon? The one that ran for a number of seasons.
1990s. Hold on, let me see if screenshots of it.
Like 1994, where Kingpin was like in the big white coat with the purple tie, that kind of show.
I feel like I've seen...
the iconic Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah, I think I have seen.
With no offense to you, if you watched a Spider-Man cartoon growing up, it must have been this one.
It probably.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
So if you Google the Spot Spider-Man animated series, you'll probably recognize him. because I remember that episode.
Animated. There we go. The Spot Spider-Man. I feel like I sort of do. Like you can tell by the art style that I recognize the
So,
era.
This is the only reason I even know. This episode is so deeply ingrained in my mind. It's unreal. So he is the main bad guy for Into the Spider-Verse.
It's gonna be interesting.
I'm very, very excited to see how they do this, and I think it's going to be phenomenal. And the best bit is I don't really know exactly. I don't have going to do it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think it would play really well though into this whole like multiverse shit.
Mate, when his entire thing is he can put two black spots and they connect.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
He's definitely
he's built for it.
Yeah, he's gonna create like rifts between multiverses
man.
and stuff.
And do you know what it's gonna be? Like, so I remember in the animated show, he tried to do good things and fucked up and got shouted at for it, basically. So then he was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna rob stuff. So he started using his spots to just reach through bank vaults and grab the money. And obviously, as all 90s cartoons that are only 20 minutes long do, even though it was that good, you had Spider-Man going to punch him and he'd put a spot there and he'd punch through the spot and he wouldn't hit the guy. And this was like a whole new thing that he had to learn. And then eventually it found out that the power these spots were using was going to cause the whole world to stop.
Right.
Like an adaptation of that kind of vibe is perfect. This film's going to be elite. I'm calling it now. I'm not that I really have much of a reputation. I'm throwing all of my reputation on this. Is going to be phenomenal.
Oh,
I'm so
100%.
ready.
It is going to be an incredible film, and but for like story-wise and just in what it is. But I think also the things that they did in the first film creatively with like the frame rate changes and all the stuff, like it's also going to be like a creative masterpiece. They're going to come out with some new shit that like techniques and shit to make it even sell it even better.
Do you know what it is? You know what it is? It's what Avatar should be. Try new quirky things no one's ever done before, but make sure the story's fucking good.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, I don't get me wrong. I might be wrong here, and it might just be they've done it more. But I cannot think of another animated film that fucked around with frame rates of specific elements to make the person appear different, or deliberately misdrew lines to give the whole film the effect of a comic, or anything like that.
Do you know why? So, for years, it happens less and less now, but do you remember like Pixar and stuff would put out these little like 2-minute, 5-minute shorts, like little short animated things? They were always it was an artist who was like had an idea, developed a tool to do said idea to show that it was possible. That's why they got made. And then it was like, oh shit, we can do that now with animation. Other studios realized, and it got adopted. Essentially, because they don't happen as much anymore, like years ago, someone would have made an animated short using the style of Spider-Verse, not Spider-Man, and it would have been like, this is a really cool thing. Then someone makes Spider-Verse. But Spider-Verse essentially is just, look at this new fucking tech we've developed for this because we wanted to.
Yeah, it's been confirmed that we're getting 12 different art styles as they go through the universe. I can't think of any animated film where they changed the art style and it did, and like, so they are doing legitimately groundbreaking creative things.
Yeah.
While also telling good stories. If Avatar would have done that, I would never have stopped talking about how good Avatar was, because I'm still talking about how good Spider-Verse was.
Avatar got the tech side right, but the story side wrong.
Exactly. And that's actually my only issue with Avatar, although I do like to hate on it. But it's because they were so close to greatness.
Mm.
And I think you know me well enough, Hori, to know nothing annoys me more than missing it by just that much. And then, I mean, I kind of threw these in here because I didn't know if we'd be able to filibuster.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a couple of fun MCU things, but I've also
Yes.
some more that I'm going to throw onto the end of it as well.
Oh.
Harrison Ford was asked why he was joining the MCU. And in the most Harrison, actually, it's not the most Harrison Ford quote ever, but it's pretty Harrison Ford. He went, "I've done lots of things in my career. I wanted to try new things."
Yeah. It was either going to be that or his other quote he would have, or the other answer he would have given is, they gave me
Big
a fat
old
bag.
check.
Yeah.
Now I do have to just throw this out there. He said he's done lots of things. He wanted to try something new. Is the success of Star Wars and Indiana Jones not basically as close as it gets to what the MCU is?
Yeah. I
Like
think,
time relative.
yeah, I do think what he probably means a bit by that is like, he did the Star Wars franchise. He was locked into that for a while. Then he's done like an Indiana Jones as well, but like he's done a bunch of other little things, hasn't he? He's bounced around and tried some things, and it's like,
What was it? Air Force One? Was it Air Force One he was in?
something, yeah. And it's like, he hasn't done superhero stuff, so
Oh my god! As if sorry, I've just pulled that out of my memory. Yes, he did do a film called Air Force One in 1997, 2 years before I was born. Hori's 21st birthday.
so unnecessary. Just like, just not even ready for it. Just like,
well, always got one in the chamber, my friend.
yeah, literally. But yeah, I feel like this is him going, well, I haven't done superhero stuff. I've done cyberpunk. I've done sci-fi. I've done the like Indiana, like the fucking explorer shit, like weird fucking magical stuff.
Yeah.
Fuck it, why not do superhero?
I'll be honest. I think the only person in the MCU Harrison Ford would fit would be Thunderbolt Ross. And
yeah.
I would never have wanted the previous gentleman to be replaced.
No.
But due to his passing, William Hurt, I've remembered his name. His passing, they weren't done with the character because he'd been banging on their doors for years about letting him be Red Hulk.
Mm.
So they went out and found the next best guy they could, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and I think also it's like Harrison Ford says, he hasn't done it, and it's kind of the right character at the right time, I guess, for him.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Then we have a fun Charlie Cox quote, which once again proves that crying Daredevil fans who claim Charlie Cox is the Messiah don't realise that Charlie Cox would agree with us more would agree with them.
Yeah.
He goes, "You can't please all the time. If She-Hulk's not your thing, don't watch it." And that was talking about the internet's reaction to the Walk of Shame scene. And how weirdly angry Twitter got about it.
Don't know why.
Yeah, because I mean, Twitter's Twitter. Like,
Daredevil's meant to be this broody dark guy. He's not allowed to have sex.
The fact that the internet thinks that Daredevil broods like Batman, even though Batman doesn't brood like the Batman broods, is hilarious to me. But yeah, you all love Charlie Cox, and you know that he loves the character. Let him do the character justice instead of nitpicking every tiny little thing. Yeah. If you have genuine complaints, yes, but nitpicking every tiny little thing gets it to the point where when you have a genuine complaint and someone looks at it and then they see above and below it, you're nitpicking every tiny little thing. Let's go, oh, it's another nitpick. Yeah, instead of going, oh, this person likes what we're doing, but they were really unhappy with that. Why? And addressing it.
No,
I get that probably annoys some people about us because for the most part we're really positive about stuff, but then when we're hard on something, really fucking hard on it, because I like to think it gives weight to when we're there like, no, that wasn't good enough.
Unless it's Sony. Sony would just.
I mean, hey, Sony get no leeway. Sony
to be
are
fair,
shit until they can prove
we
otherwise.
are positive about Sony in some lights.
I'm positive about Donald Glover's ability to make shit work.
We're positive about the games.
Yes, no, I'll give you that. But that's Insomniac. I'll give Sony no credit.
True.
And then another thing that I saw while I was there are rumors.
Oh, here we go.
And this is just rumors. I've not seen any like proper credited sources. So this could be another one that just gets filed in with Twitter was being weird. Sentry, the Sentry.
Oh.
Most people are just going to go, oh, Marvel's version of Superman. Yes, basically. He does have slight differences, but yes, he has a very similar power set. Apparently, he's got a Marvel project coming up. Apparently, he might make his debut in the Thunderbolts.
Oh.
I have a huge issue with this.
There we go.
The Thunderbolts roster we were shown gets clapped in about 3 seconds by Sentry. So if he is the bad guy in their film, that is going to be half of one episode of a very short TV show.
Well, I mean, we're already not so keen on the how about this? Potential positive from this.
Go on.
He is the bad guy. He claps the Thunderbolts and then they actually whip out a proper Thunderbolts lineup that we like.
Yeah, I'm not going to give it too much weight and I'm not going to let myself get too concerned by it because, like I said, it is very much just Twitter out of nowhere. Because of the way Twitter works, it could easily be someone having a bit of fun. And as you know, with fandom Twitters, they fucking latch on and run with it.
It also, like we've said in the past, is Sentry being Superman-like, people bringing him up because, oh, Henry Cavill's available now. Yeah. They're just trying to, they're like, where could we
speak it into existence?
Yeah, where could we put the Sentry and then claim that Henry Cavill's going to play him in this thing? Oh, we don't know much about the Thunderbolts because I'm a reporter. Let's shove him in there. Yeah. Fans won't notice.
Yeah, it's one of them ones that we give very little weight to, but it's worth mentioning because I'd hate for people to assume that we don't keep an eye on what's being rumored.
Also, we'd love to be able to say "Who told you so."
Yes, always, just in case. Is this a Twitter page that I can remotely trust?
Well, does it have a golden tick, a grey tick, a blue tick, a square profile picture?
They look relatively fair, but it looks like they do throw out a lot just in case. So a couple of things they've tweeted. Sam Rockwell will return as Justin Hammer in Armor Wars. That kind of makes sense. It's been rumored a fair bit. No real surprise. Apparently, Iron Fist will appear in Daredevil Born Again. I hope it's not the same actor they had for the Netflix shows because he was dreadful. But I don't want to give him too much hate for that. They didn't give him any martial arts training other than the fight scenes he was going to do.
Yeah.
So he was learning the fight scene instead of learning a bit of martial arts.
Yeah, he was just learning choreography.
Yeah, which is always going to make martial arts look.
MCU would make him go through training.
You'd hope so. But if they recast, I'm literally not even going to remotely complain. So, Aubrey Plaza, we discussed a while. Covenant Chaos.
Covenant
of Chaos. It looks like she's set to play Morgana Le Fay.
Okay.
That is a name some people might recognise if you're watching the BBC show Merlin. Shout out you, Morgana from Merlin. It's the same character. It's not the same character because it's Marvel's version, but that's why famous witch from history.
Yeah.
Marvel have their own version. A lot of comic book characters are from a version of history. Yeah, it happens all the time. So yeah, there was some Marvel bits and bobs. It is what it is. I mean, we've got next week, which is going to be a big bumper. New Year's Eve kind of year in review. We're going to get friends back. We're going to have a couple of drinks. We're going to chat about what we didn't like this year. It should be very nice and chill.
It will be.
And then we're back in the new year. I'm pretty sure straight away we have Bad Batch, don't we?
pretty early on, yeah. Bad Batch, and I imagine we'll also be kicking off the year with like talking about what's coming out in 2023 because there's a lot.
January 4th, the first episode's come out, which is the Wednesday before the first episode of the new year. So yeah, that'll be in there. So I mean, we're good to go, folks.
Yeah, no rest.
We don't stop here.
It's wild that this time last year we only had the Spider-Man film.
Yeah, the channel is a year and 2 days old.
And the first episode came out in the beginning of Jan.
In the new year, yeah.
And we talked about Spider-Man. And then we had nothing else to talk about for a few weeks. Whereas now, like, content's flowing. News is flowing.
It's great. I mean, we have a great time doing this. There has been a number of really rough weeks where having this constant has been very, very good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Superhero Showdown.
Yes, last one.
I'm really enjoying the wobbliness of the hat.
Mine's a bit more controlled than yours.
They're like our personalities. Yours is chill and organized.
I think people in the comments should vote on who has the best Santa hat.
I mean, it's mine. Look, I've got it to the side and everything. I'm
all I'm missing is a white beard, and I'm halfway there. To
okay,
Santa.
It's not my fault that you're old as fuck and therefore Santa. Anyway, Superhero Showdown.
Yes,
we should have done a Christmassy one. Fucking Santa versus Jesus. Hindsight 2020. Hawkman versus Redhood. Standard rules apply. Blah 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 blah. If you don't know yet, you're never gonna know. Got it?
Yeah, but for our new viewers,
I promise you, I've not had a drink.
We are. Well, warning for the New Year's one. We will be Larry.
Yeah. 100%. I need to make sure I'm mixing because if I'm drinking straight alcohol, I'm gonna get. Yeah. Hawkman versus Red Hood. Red Hood is trained by the Bat.
Yes.
He is resurrected by Lazarus Pit. A little bit unhinged, very angry at everything.
Yes.
Hawkman is I guess undying, but dies a lot entity.
Yeah, gets resurrected.
Yeah. He has wings. He has big ball with spikes. He bash.
All made of like nth metal, is it called?
Yeah.
Like,
it's big boy stuff.
And he's blessed and a bit magical in that sense.
Strong, fast, smart. He's
highly intelligent because he's been reincarnated many times.
But we do have to give an advantage to the Red Hood. I have a very obvious one, I feel.
Okay.
Nth metal bullets. I have no idea if they've ever been a thing, but we can make them a thing. Who gives a fuck?
So my only thought I'd had for Red Hood is I forget what they're called, because of the Lazarus Pit, he gets
Lazarus Pit, yeah.
He gets some blades, but they're only meant to come out against true evil or something, if I remember correctly. I need to have My thought was, do we let him have those, even though I guess Hawkman's not classed as true evil, but he's bloodlusted and trying to kill him, so does that technically in this situation he would be true evil too?
You're asking a lot of philosophical questions here for a for a fantasy fight between two people who exist.
They're called the All Blades.
Okay.
Mystical blades kill magic-based threats.
I'm gonna be honest with you. They sound more powerful than nth metal bullets. Because they're designed for magic-based threats.
They can't harm
cannot harm anything else
that isn't magical.
I think nth metal bullets is safer because either they're going to be really OP if Hawkman is classed as a magic-based threat, and if he's not classed as a magic-based threat, they are fucking useless.
Yeah, I guess like only his equipment that's blessed, right, classes as magical, not Hawkman himself. So let's go with nth metal bullets. That
Okay,
I
cool.
mean,
it's like shooting steel at steel. At certain ranges, it will just deflect off, but
well, yeah,
at close enough ranges, it will
it's
damage.
yeah, it will actually pierce it. It's like what do you call Black Panther's claws versus Cap shield? They actually scratched it because they're both
Yes,
made of vibranium.
exactly.
So
I guess the question is, we kind of got to look at each of these things like strength, intelligence. I guess it'd be fight intelligence rather than intelligence, endurance, and durability. I think, as far as I know, Hawkman's endurance isn't really special.
I don't know.
And I feel like Jason Todd, having grown up as a street kid and then going through Batman's vigorous training, he's got like bordering superhuman endurance anyway. Like,
yeah, probably.
So I'm gonna say endurance is probably pretty even.
Yep, I would agree.
Durability, I think, is only fair to give to Hawkman.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, Red Hood's still just
He's human.
Yeah, he's just human.
Fighting skill, I always struggle to not give to a Bat fan member.
My only thought of it being maybe more even is because of how much knowledge Hawkman has from all his lives, right?
Yeah, I guess my counterpoint to that is the more powerful someone naturally is, the less they learn to fight properly. It's kind of like that old adage, like big guys actually don't know how to fight because they've always been so strong they never had to learn how to fight.
I don't know if Hawkman's ever got... Has he trained in any fighting? Was he just
he will have trained over the years on, but he'll have his fight style. But Red Hood, like, has been taught most fight styles.
True.
So I definitely wouldn't give it to Hawkman. I could accept it being even.
Yeah, I wonder if it's slightly Red Hood, but more close to even, just because Hawkman's many lives.
Then that mainly leaves us with battle intelligence. Now, I have a very interesting take for you here.
Okay.
Since they are both bloodlusted, I think we could agree when you're that enraged by something, you're not going to think as logically. However, Jason Time has spent a lot more time angry than maybe anyone ever.
Yes.
So he might handle that better and be able to think a bit more clearly about what to do.
Yeah.
As well as, obviously, his years of training under the Batman of what to do in a fight.
That's true. I wonder... So my thought comes down to, like, also partly their equipment, right? Hawkman's nth metal equipment is going to kind of fuck up Red Hood's if he hits him with, like, the mace and whatever weaponry he has. It's going to fuck Red Hood up. If we're giving Red Hood nth metal bullets, it's going to take, I think, a well-placed shot that hits properly, will pierce his armor or whatever, and will probably, like, either if you got it between the shoulder blades or something, it's like takes out an arm, like you're gonna cripple him in some way that like gives you a very strong advantage than fighting him.
I guess my thought is, at first he's trying to injure an arm so that he's weakened, and then it's get close and shoot him in the fucking ribs. Because you can argue at medium to long ranges, a pistol fire metal bullet isn't going to break the armor, but at point blank range, it's going to pierce the armor.
I think if Red Hood gets a early, well placed shot, I think that gives him the advantage to get in close, can shoot in the ribs, can finish him off. I think there's some scenarios though where like he can't get a shot on and Hawkman just comes in and fucking smacks the shit out of him, and before he even gets a chance to get a proper shot in or something, Hawkman's beat him to death with nth metal weaponry. I
So I
just
guess it
don't.
comes down to what do we think is more likely.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, I'm backing my boy Jason. And also, less likely to get shouted at by angry people.
Wimp. I do lean more towards Red Hood because of his combat training.
I think it's one of them cases where Hawkman probably has him beat on the more physical aspects, but once you get to like intelligence and how to fight, he can make up for that.
And we're giving him a weapon that kind of evens things up a little bit. He's gonna figure out how, like, he's gonna figure out, oh shit, this does do damage. Like, he's gonna use it to its best effect. So yeah, I would lean, I don't know, maybe like 70-30 Red Hood.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I can live with that. And as numbers tell us, bigger is better. Therefore, Red Hood is the.
Yeah. So
Talking of bigger number is better number, don't forget to subscribe and make that subscriber number bigger and better, as well as the like button.
Give us a subscription and a like for our Christmas.
Fuck yeah, brother.
Yeah, so Red Hood moves on. And
He
feel
does
free
indeed.
to shout in the comments if you think we're wrong.
If you are a die-hard Hawkman stan, feel free to let us know.
Yeah.
And that does wrap it up for this week.
Yes. Christmas.
Yes. Have a lovely Christmas. Thank you for listening and spending your Friday with us.
Hopefully you get Marvel Santa and not DC Santa.
Yeah, Marvel Santa is a G. DC Santa might be a slave owner. Pick your Santa.
Hopefully the Joker doesn't leave you any presents.
We will be back next week with our end of year wrap up special where we talk all things that happened outside, what was good, what was bad. We will be drinking, so maybe save that one to listen to in the evening and have a drink with us. We'll all get drunk together because it's not alcoholism if you drink with other people.
And as long as it's responsible.
Yes. Drink responsibly. We're not giving out moral advice now, are we? Anyway, thanks very much.
We have to just cover our backs.
Oh yes, we will be drinking water because we don't want to get demonetized. Even don't monetization. Like, subscribe, follow on Twitter and things. Even though if Elon Musk gets his way, we won't be able to mention YouTube on Twitter ever again. Pog. And we'll see you next week. Have a lovely Christmas.
Have a lovely Christmas.